締めに行くのか。それでも強い。つながりました。大きな左膝。なんと最後は左膝。宇野起き上がれない。宇野起き上がれない。Joachim Hansenの左膝。
Oi oi, it's your boy, Slacky J, and I wanted to talk about some lightweight legends today, Joachim Hansen and Caol Uno. This fight was in March 2005, an extremely interesting time in MMA, particularly for the lightweights. The UFC has officially dropped the lightweights at this point. There is no UFC lightweight title. And Pride has only just started Bushido. Bushido is their lightweight brand, and they have a massive tournament in, I think, September 2005. So the idea of who is even the number one lightweight in the world is very much up in the air. Caol Uno just went to a draw with BJ Penn, fought his ass off against prime BJ Penn, got the draw in the lightweight title fight in the UFC, and the UFC, like with Ankalaev versus Blachowicz, got mad and said, right, neither of you gets the belt, and we're not doing a rematch. Uno goes back to Japan. Japan has always had a very strong lightweight MMA scene, which is why Joachim Hansen, who's Norwegian, has never fought in America, only fought in Scandinavia, Ireland, and then Japan. The other top guys at the time are BJ Penn, obviously, who just went to the draw with Caol Uno, Takanori Gomi, who Hansen beat to become the judo champion in a very controversial decision. Kawajiri's in the running. There's a few guys. In 2003, BJ Penn and Takanori Gomi have a match in Rumble on the Rock, which we should probably study at a later date because he's got some beautiful guard passing in. And that's sort of like an unofficial lightweight title fight of the world, but then BJ Penn goes globe-trotting, doing his own thing at weird weights. So in Uno versus Hansen, the first major lightweight fight under K1's Heroes brand, which only lasted a couple of years, but really had some banger fights. Basically, Kid Yamamoto's prime is there, Genki Sudo's prime, JZ Calvan, Josias Cavalcante. But they managed to get Hansen and Caol Uno, and it's a very good case for number one lightweight in the world. And away we go. So one of the really interesting things in this fight, and all lightweights in this era, is really interesting sort of clinch work. Uno grabs a kick here, turns it into a single. Hansen threatens the guillotine, comes up into the body lock, and then, look at that, gorgeous, eh? So, threatens the guillotine, comes up, underhook on this side. Definitely having to use the red pen today because of the yellow mat. The old piss mat. We all miss that from UFC 200. Steps in. This is part judo, part Muay Thai. If you can draw the knee that Hansen's just thrown over this side, this foot is very easy to trip. And the Sasai Surakomi-ashi, your boy Slacky, not a judoka. We could talk about Kazushi and all that bollocks that gets more complicated, but basically, you pull them this way, they need to step, you block this foot, and they fall. Boom. Pick it back up again because there's a few cool examples of this move in this fight, and Hansen himself does some, particularly in other fights. It's Uno who's mainly getting this Sasai off here. Inside low kick from the clinch, love that. Digs the underhook, gonna pull him round to the right. Already drawing the knee there, and ends up just sort of bundling Hansen to the mat on that one. This is round two, and Hansen responds to the Sasai by jumping over the back with the overhook and attempting to armbar him. How sick is that? Into the clinch. Hansen always locks his hands over the back like that. Over the back, armbar attempt. Uno's elbow gets out, and we're into passing again, but just very cool. Something really important here is that Uno starts coming up and comes back down to his knees. This is really important for reasons we will get into with the guard passing in a minute, but first, more Sasai. Little headbutt there. Uno's boxing doesn't look bad in this fight, actually. There, breaks the clinch with a Sasai. I mean, this is this Muay Thai or is this judo? It's all the same to me, but blocks the foot, pushes his weight over there, breaks free of the clinch. This is the danger with Hansen. He can bring knees up to head height from basically anywhere. This is really nice. Collar tie on this side, framing into the bicep on this side. Got a big hole here. He's going to try and slot the knee through. Boom, onto the chin. Oh, not a Sasai that time. That's the standard Joachim trip on the outside. Right. Don't know why I've got this in here, but this is one of Caol Uno's students, and Joachim Hansen societying him. Gorgeous. So Joachim Hansen has a really good guard for MMA. This is a little bit later. This is Bibiano Fernandez, who's a 3-time world champion at black belt in the gi. Hansen was always he was kind of like Mauricio Shogun Rua in that he was aggressive with takedowns. So if you went into the clinch with him, or he went into the clinch with you, he'd be looking to take you down, but he was also very susceptible to being taken down. So it was one of those things where his takedown defense was takedown offense. But Fernandez never comes close to passing his guard in this fight. This is a very common position. What you'll see from Hansen is feet on their hips a lot. There we go. Not so much when they're standing, because there's not really any point having a foot on the hip here unless you're off balancing for a tripod sweep or something. But feet on the hips often causes people to stand up, and then this foot is going to try and kick him in the face. This hand is often going to go to the ankle here, and it's the sort of MMA de la Hiva, which you'll see regional legend Gegard Mousasi and the Pettis brothers are also very good at playing. So he kicks at the far knee, holds the ankle, kicks at the face. This is just really hard to deal with. Look at that. Fernandez is making no progress passing the guard here. Has to settle for like trying to punch him in the butt. And that's really important there. The way out of this grip, and this is really important if you want to learn to guard pass properly, the way out of this ankle grip is to kick your foot across their butt or away from their butt, but you have to sort of turn away to do it. Like that. And did you see all the space he's given Joachim Hansen here? So now Joachim stands up. So Fernandez is over him here. He's going to put one foot forward. Joachim is going to catch the ankle grip there. And then this leg is actually going to go all the way across into his groin on that side. So that's what his leg's going to look like. Top of the thigh on the far side, ideally. And that turns Fernandez towards him. And Fernandez sort of threatened to do a toe hold or something there, but look at that. Joachim is starting to get behind him there. Ends up in this weird sort of octopus scramble. Gets back up to his feet. And these are techniques we're going to see against Caol Uno in a second. Again, holding the ankle, kicking the far knee and kicking the face. Nightmare to try and pass this. He also axe kicks him in the kidney here. Kicks away, Hansen gets up. So this is against Eddie Alvarez, absolute war of a fight. Starts with his feet on the hips, kicks away, Eddie comes up to his feet, and look at that, he's up kicking him. This is what's crazy about this. People think that Joachim Hansen only had success with upkicks because it was in Japanese MMA, where upkicks are legal when the opponent's on the knees. But he did it in Shuto against Takanori Gomi. He'd kick him away on the hips up to the feet. Gomi would stand to not just be on his knees as Joachim Hansen pushed away from him. And he kicked Gomi in the face on the feet. And even though upkicks are legal on the ground here, most of his upkicks connect as the opponent's trying to stand over him, or he's pushed them out to standing over him. Grabs the ankle here, Eddie pulls away, Hansen gets up, gets back to work. This is just another little nice Sasai here on the recovery from almost being tripped. And this is another example, kicks him out to range, tries to upkick him, Eddie comes back in like this. Watch what happens if he's got his feet on Eddie's hips and Eddie stays low with his upper body. So when Joachim has his feet on the hips and pushes the opponent out, they normally come up to standing, and then he anchors himself to the leg and starts kicking them in the face. But if they try and stay low while he's kicking them away, he'll try and helicopter sweep them into an armbar, which is crazy, but he did it to Eddie Alvarez and swept to top position, and he did it to Luis Azeredo as well. I've never seen someone do it so many times in an MMA career. So returning to the Caol Uno fight, Hansen's guard is hard to pass. He almost gets behind him there off a weird knee slice attempt. This is a really nice little invention of Joachim Hansen. Sit up guard here, gets on his elbow, he's framing on Uno, Uno's pushing back into him, he drops him onto an uppercut. Love that. Boom. Kind of like the framing elbows you see today. So Uno's over him, controlling the ankles, trying to throw him by. This is what's cool about this fight. Uno does some good guard passing against a very tricky guard. The upkick's still a problem though. And this is an important point here. This sort of reverse knee on belly position, which you might find yourself in a lot if you do a lot of high step passing from reverse de la Hiva in modern MMA. or sorry, modern grappling. It's an interesting spot because if you're not tight to it, Joachim can bring this leg back over and effectively get like a single leg X or threaten a leg attack like that. That ain't good. Wrestles up off it here. But it does prove effective for him in a minute. That's really nice. That's something Glover Teixeira did this to Yuri a few times, and Nate Landwehr does it too. You threaten to run the pipe on the single, and then you just pop behind them like that. And a beautiful suplex, because this is what Hansen always did. Tried to jump on the back and then suplexed you instead. Did it to Eve Edwards a couple of years after, or a year after this. Here's Uno doing his best Sakuraba. He's going to try and use the Kimura. Hansen's waiting for it. Is he going to walk and put his head through the ropes? Look at that. Hansen was waiting on that and just tried to get on his back instead. Time for the Classico MMA back escape that we were talking about the other day, though. Just turn back up into them. There you go. Beautiful. Right, so we're back on guard passing here. Oh, gets hoofed in the face. Ouch. Hansen's got the ankle there, manages to free it. Uno's doing a really good job at controlling both ankles, which is really hard when the guy's motorboating his legs and trying to kick you in the face. But look at how Uno almost always has both ankles. You don't see that enough in MMA, little throw-bys like that. Oh, this is good. So, Hansen inverted. Uno holding this ankle, shin stapling this ankle. This is what you've got to do to people who invert. You've got to staple them in the position where they are inverted. And in MMA, you can punch them in the face, which you don't see that much. Dudes getting punched from inverted. So here is that deep De La Riva we were talking about. And the danger of the deep De La Riva no-gi, there's not that many attacks you can do from it, but this leg here, if he pummels it in so that the butterfly hook is behind that knee, he's basically in the crab ride, which is what you'll see Alejandro Pantoja do all the time. So he gets, facing away from him with that right foot, and then he puts his hook in behind the knee, and this is a crab ride here. Unfortunately, he's unable to unbalance Uno here, and Uno's able to sort of step out. But again, look at how Uno's having to sort of face away from him because of that deep De La Riva hook. Good little attempt at a knee cut there, though. There is a good little throw-by. This is beautiful, actually. I'm always raving about Mikey Musumici's instructionals. I'm probably the only person I'm the person who's watched the most Mikey Musumeci instructionals because I got them for free from Fanatics, and also he's like 10 times worse than John Danaher for not getting to the point fast enough. But if you stick with them, they are like life-changingly good. But he's just done a passing instruction, which I figure no one's going to watch because it's Mikey Musumeci and he doesn't really do any passing. But he loves little double ankle drags like that. Ones where you're not running around the opponent, you're passing their legs across you. This is gorgeous because Hansen brings his leg back in. Uno has stapled this leg here, and he's going to get this leg all the way through before removing that staple. Boom, beautiful. Unfortunately, Hansen gets back to guard because Hansen's a squirrely mofo. Another up kick to the face. This is Uno playing off the Kimura threat with the switch, which sometimes goes wrong, but in this instance it makes a nice scramble for him. It's better to be fighting up like this than stuck on the bottom of closed guard. He does, however, Hansen is gripping inside that far arm, which is really annoying. He's going to do a little sasai to try and get him off. Sort of work there. I mean, it accomplished the goal. This is how you know someone's getting a little bit frustrated with your guard if they start trying to do this bollocks. Almost works though. Gets back to double ankles, which is always good. Yeah, jumping again, not really working. Caol. Double ankles here. This is really cool. Okay, straightened his leg there. That's how you get a De La Riva hook out, and then you bring it up to your hand. Very useful to know. Passes it across, goes to that reverse knee on belly, cuts all the way across his body, and runs around his head. That is a gorgeous little sequence. Passes the legs, reverse knee on belly, cuts across him, and then runs around the head as he starts getting up to his side. Really gorgeous stuff. Nice little knee slide there. This is an unfortunate little trade-off because we always talk about catch, rest, the side control. This hand in the ghoulies, that it doesn't stop, but it helps prevent the guy turning to his knees because you can always lift this top leg up as he turns to face you. But Uno gets a little bit too clever for himself here. He tries to grab that foot, thinking that'll slow him down, not realizing that this foot is now free to just sort of roll over here. Up to his knees, gets out from what should have been a really dominant position for Uno there. Uno gets the Kimura, and that's bad. Anytime this is here behind your back, you're pretty close to having something broken. And Hansen starts trying to put him into back control while Uno's working on like a straight arm lock. Another society into a front headlock. This is another reason I love the Society of Komiyashi. Boom, they put a hand to the floor, you go to the front headlock. Unfortunately, late in the fight and sweaty. So this is the end, 30 seconds left. Uno step back, got double ankle control, probably going to hit a throw by. Or a little knee slice there. Comes back to double ankles again, really impressive to do that without getting kicked in the face. Passes, again. That reverse knee on belly position there. But Hansen's got his hands in the armpit here. Hansen is going to do the post, which is this hand in the armpit, this hand to the mat. He's going to build up to his feet. Uno's going to check the time. And now he's dead. And Hansen throws his mouthpiece into the crowd and hits Uno's mum. Incredible knockout, incredible fight. I just love both these fighters. Watch some Joachim Hansen, you will not be disappointed. Every fight he had was a banger. Every fight he had, he did something weird and impressive in. And apparently he didn't shower before fights, so he smelled like sour cream and ass, as Rampage would say.